Welcome to the Leadership Surgery, where we operate on your biggest leadership challenges. You share your pain points anonymously if you prefer, and our surgeons will diagnose and dissect before offering recommended treatment. Scrubbing in today, we have Anthony Taylor. Hello, my friend.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am well, thank you. And I've got a great question for you to open today.
Oh, go on then.
If you could have a chat with any animal from the animal kingdom, what would you pick?
Any animal from the animal kingdom?
Yeah. And of course, by chat, I mean get a response, not just talk at, because you can do that at the zoo anytime you like, by the way.
It would have to be my dog.
Your dog, yeah.
Yeah. I'd want to understand why he's a pain in the sometimes.
Okay. Okay, lovely. Great shout. Sally Bryce, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Great to see you. What about you? Animal Kingdom, who would you chat with?
Well, but my first thought went to my dog as well, Dan. I mean, he tells me a lot with his eyes, but I would actually love to engage in a proper conversation with him. The only other animal that went through my head, which is my favourite animal, is a panda. Because they're just always up to crazy stuff, pandas are. Whenever you see them, they're just rolling around or falling out of stuff or just generally looking like they're having a great time. So, yeah, it'd either be with a panda or my dog, Dan.
You're quite
Right.
coordinated for a panda today, Sal.
I am actually, yes. Very
Yeah,
well
kinda got-
noticed, black and white, yes.
Panda colours.
It's my spirit
Lovely
animal. I
stuff.
don't know what that means.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dan Finn. Great to see you.
Hello, everyone. Hello. How is
Would
everyone?
would you have a chat with your dog as well?
I already do, as we found out in the last
Okay,
podcast
yes.
episode. So,
What if he could answer?
Well, I make up the answers already for us, so I feel like I've already gone at that point. One of my favourite animals is a wolverine. Have you ever seen a wolverine?
Yes. Not
And
just
I
in
like-
X-Men. Yes.
No, but and I like them because the way that they run. So I'd love to have a chat with a wolverine about why do you run like that?
I'm now intrigued. I'm going to have to look up
They like
Wolverine running videos.
Yeah, I know this is a podcast, but I'm on camera and I'm doing like my interpretation of Wolverine
Is it a
run
wolf?
here. No, Wolverine.
No.
So I've a Google. They're at I've seen them at Highland Zoo, up near the Cairngorms in Scotland, and they're just ace. They're cool. I don't even know where they're from originally, but
Okay.
Wow.
so yeah. So
Like
I'll have a chat with the Wolverine. Why not?
I think I'm going to say I'll chat with a meerkat. You know, there's often that you see them seemingly spend most of their time on their back
Yeah.
feet, don't you? Just
Yeah.
looking up. And I want to know, is that just like a natural stance? Are you actually always looking and alert for things? What's going on? You know, and there's lots of them. You know, do they chat much to each other? That kind of thing. I'd like to know some of this.
You've given
What
this quite
kind
a
of
bit of
question-
thought.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
kind of question would you ask a meerkat?
Yeah.
Firstly, can I get 2-for-1 cinema tickets, please?
Simples.
Oh, very well done.
I don't know.
I've-
It just come to me in the moment, you know,
Yeah.
natural conversation.
What are you looking
So-
at? What's over there? What is-
Yeah. What did you
Okay,
hear?
it's
What
all
did you
clear.
see?
What do you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, we could go down I was going to say rabbit hole, a meerkat hole with this. Let's get on to more pressing issues, such as the patient that we have today. Here's what they have for us, laying on our operating table. They say, "Hi, I've recently joined a new company in a senior role, and I'm really struggling to find the right balance. On the one hand, I know I need to take the time to understand the culture, the people, the politics, and the unspoken rules. I don't want to rush in, make assumptions, or accidentally tread on toes. Everyone keeps saying, take your time, just settle in. But on the other hand, I also feel this pressure to prove myself, to show I was the right hire, to deliver something visible, to build credibility quickly. I can sense people watching, wondering what I'm going to change, what my priorities are, whether I'm decisive enough. And the longer I take to really get under the skin of the place, the more I worry that I'll look slow or passive. I feel caught between two equally risky options. Take my time and let people think I'm not doing enough, or move too fast and damage relationships before they've formed. How do I get this right? Thank you, Scott." Well, some interesting things in
It's a
here.
belter, isn't it, that?
Yeah,
it is good.
Belter.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure, as with so many of our scenarios, this will be familiar to lots of people.
Mm.
Certainly anyone that's joined a company recently or perhaps is about to join somewhere new for the first time. What kind of symptoms are we acknowledging here? What things are jumping out at you that you think warrant some attention? What do you think, Dan?
I think there's that sense of uneasiness and sort of nervousness, like almost like a nervous energy I'm feeling from that.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to. I think I should step in over there, but I don't want to ruffle feathers. And I think I should maybe change something. So it's almost as if he's in this position now where he's soaking information in, and he wants to start doing things the way that he wants to lead. And it's almost, I don't know, again, it felt like is there a bit of imposter syndrome there around, should I step in or should I do something now? Do I have to hold back? Is it the right thing to hold back? Or have I maybe second guessing himself, or have I been hired to actually come in and be decisive? So that's what I'm picking up from it from a Simpsons point of view, and how that was probably how he's feeling, and how it's probably impacting how he's leading at the moment as well, if that's where he's at.
Yeah, and there's definitely a bit around expectation, isn't there? What people expect from me, and also what you expect from yourself.
Yeah.
And we can delve into that in a few minutes around whether that's appropriate or inappropriate. But that's something that's coming out here, which I think, again, plenty of people will be very familiar with. This sense of what do they expect me to deliver on, and what do I expect to do for myself? What do you think, Sal?
I think it feels wibbly wobbly as well. It sounds like somebody who, I don't know, doesn't necessarily know not what to do, but it sounds like more they're having a bit of a crisis around their own identity. You know, whether it's about kind of struggling with belonging, and the need to kind of feel safe. And I feel like they're really overthinking things and probably feeling quite paralyzed, almost to the point of inaction. So that kind of scarcity and, oh my God, you know, that wanting to prove, I think he even used the word prove, wanting to prove yourself in this situation, I think is what's coming out, which, like you say, I think is very recognizable to people, whether it's something like this, maybe a new job, or maybe somebody coming back from maternity, or if you're working with a new team or a new boss. I think all of this feeling tends to come out.
Yeah.
I think I actually like to applaud Scott here. I actually think he's showing a lot of self-awareness.
Yes.
If I look back on my own career, so many times new people have come in, and quite frankly, they've come in like a whirlwind, peed all over everything, without taking any time to understand what the real issues are, what the problems are, what's working rather than what's not working, in some kind of egocentric way of proving their value. So I'd like to applaud Scott. You know what? Actually, that's great that you're taking the time to go, oh, actually, what kind of line should I take? So I think Scott should give himself permission to kind of sit with those feelings a bit, see the positive in it, rather than he's not just come in. And then actually, I think it alludes to my suggestions with what you mentioned, Paul, about expectations. I'd just be really, if I was Scott, I'd be really clear with people. This is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to rush in, but equally, I'm also thinking about what I can, you know, I'm going to take some time here. And I think if he's upfront with people, that people go, oh, okay, he's been a bit considered. And suddenly he might feel the pressure's off him a bit.
Yeah. But bringing that sense of clarity of this is what I am doing at the moment. Because understandably, he mentioned about I can sense people watching, wondering what's going to change. Everyone will have something of that, probably. There'll be a bit of, I wonder what's going to be altered, or, you know, and how we'll be impacted, that sort of thing. So being upfront, being honest, being clear, here's what I'm doing. Even if you're not making change right now, this is what I'm spending my time doing, i.e., I'm just looking and I'm curious and I'm learning, and that's what I'm doing here and now, and let people know that that's happening.
Yeah, I think all of that, and going back to what I said, I think you've got to be careful, like I say, when you're in that proving mindset. While some vulnerability and some of that is really important, you've just got to be careful that doesn't put you into overperforming. instead of actually listening to kind of what people are telling you or trying to seek validation, instead of getting understanding from people. So I think just being really self-aware, to your point, Ant, kind of being clear maybe what the expectations are, knowing that you've got this job for a reason, but then not trying to rush into stuff and take your time and know your own self-worth, I think is really important. But I know myself, it's very easy to say this stuff in theory, but I know it's very hard to resist all of those temptations in the moment.
Yeah.
Go on, Dan.
And that's a huge risk, particularly if you've got ideas and you've got ideas that have been successful in your previous role, in a previous organization, and you think, oh, I could probably just lift and shift what I did there. And that might fall into the quick win, or fall into that's an achievement which I can do quite quickly because I've got the experience of doing it, blah, blah, blah. But not actually taking the time, to your point, to understand the business, understand what's really going on, and you end up making a bit of a fool of yourself because you have rushed in. So I think, so echoing what your points, Sal, and what you were saying, Ant, around, I think that actually this considered approach is probably, it's not wrong, is it? It's not a wrong way of doing it. I know.
No.
And is it actually a blessing that he's perhaps caught in between those two opposing things of what he wants to do?
Yeah.
It's acting deliberately, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's acting deliberately. It's knowing all of this stuff and knowing what's going on for you internally, and then choosing how you respond rather than reacting. And that is really important.
And doing that
What were
with
you gonna say?
transparency, just with transparency as well.
I think
Yeah.
really thinking about Ashley, this is the time when he needs to build relationships. Going back to the conversation we had off air before we started recording about leading horses and stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually about, if he's going to make the biggest impact he wants to in this business, he's got to use this time to build some relationships, understand what's going on, what's worked, not worked, but build that, because he'll need people to come with him on whatever initiatives, things he wants to try and change. So use that time to really build relationships.
Because I suppose, sorry, Sal, I was just going to say, I think in terms of what the business needs, what the organization needs that you are joining, that you're coming into, they'll always give you a line of, here's what we're trying to do, the official line, I mean, and the strategy and the values and all those sorts of things. You'll get those handed to you, but it's in the listening and the relationship building, as has been talked about, that you find out, but what's happening on the ground? And how are people responding to these messages about strategy and values, etc.? What's really happening? And knowing that is going to equip you better to think about, well, how you move things forward. And so that taking your time here, for me, taking your time is doing enough. It's not a question of, am I doing enough? By taking your time, you're doing enough, as long as you share what you are currently doing. If you bring that transparency and say, here's what I'm working on, I think that's a really positive place to be. Of course, there needs to be some action at some point, but in those initial stages, I think that's a really critical thing to prioritize.
I like that, because I think what you're saying, that if you narrate almost kind of what's going on for you, what you're observing, some kind of early interpretations, people will understand then kind of your thought process and what you're doing. And I think just another point that I kind of made here as well is it's a quote I heard a little while ago that I think fits. Discomfort isn't the problem, making it mean something about you is. Goes back to that self-worth piece, that I think also you've just got to accept that in situations like this, you're going to feel a little under threat. It's totally normal to question yourself and overthinking. But I think it's important to acknowledge that you have been given this job for a reason. And again, that self-worth piece, don't go into something wanting to prove yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'd pick up on also with something that Scott's mentioned here is, he says, I can sense people watching.
Yeah.
Now, in reality, people will be watching. Of course, they will be to some degree. But how much you dwell on that and how much of that is actually reality might be two very different things. So I think there's a real sense of asking yourself, well, what's really true here? You know,
Yeah.
I can sense people watching. Well, are they actually watching? How
Yes.
much are they watching? How much are they really dwelling on every move that you make? You know, unless you've got Sting, who's present, who's watches every breath you take. Like,
Also, Scott, we're all
Terrible
just thinking
tone.
about ourselves.
yeah,
We're all just
Yes.
thinking about ourselves. Yeah.
Honestly, be surprised how little people think of other people because they're all
Yeah.
obsessed with themselves.
We're obsessed with
Yeah.
ourselves. We over-index being liked and, you know, overthinking what people are thinking. But the reality is absolutely that we're all just consumed with our own self.
yeah,
Because everyone else has got their own insecurities, their own fears, their own
Yeah.
worries about how they're performing, their own stuff going on
Yeah.
outside of work. On top of all of that stuff,
Yeah.
they're really not worried about it, Scott.
Well, they're worried what you might mean for them. This new person
Yes.
is a threat. So they're
Yes.
probably watching you thinking, are they going to expose me? Are they going to
Yeah.
do something better than me?
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. So that is probably why they're looking.
But this is the thing we do in our own headspace, isn't it? We jump to the conclusions and we make the
Oh.
assumptions.
Mhm.
And in reality, as you've said, likelihood is people are not doing maybe even any of that at all, or if they are doing it, it's in a really small amount. So just hitting pause for a moment, Scott, and asking yourself, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this at the moment. Is that actually a true reflection of what is going on? And never mind, is that 85% true? No, is it 100% true or not? That's what you need to be really clear on. And my gut would say it probably isn't really true.
Yeah.
Because at the very best, you'll say, well, I think it might be, but I can't be certain. So choose not to dwell on it.
Yeah.
But this is where Scott could have been probably a little bit, maybe I'm getting into preventive care, but a little bit more proactive on and having a deliberate plan. So Sal, you mentioned
Yes.
about being deliberate around having a deliberate plan of right, I'm joining this business on this date. In the first week or 2 weeks, it's all about meeting people and building relationships. It's about putting my team at ease to what we've just been discussing there. They might be upset about somebody else coming in. I'm meeting my team. I want them to get to know me to get to know them. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be a sponge. You know, I'm just going to but be deliberate around how much time I'm going to spend on that part versus the next part. And I think that would help then when, there's people watching me and that kind of thing. Well, that's okay. They can watch me because I can talk to them and say, well, according to the plan, I'm doing this, this, and this. So I think the be a bit more deliberate and have something a bit more formal in place would probably help. With that.
It's a really good question, isn't it? When you start any new role, is to ask the people who are bringing you in, what does success look like in the first 90
great
days or the
question.
first 6 months? You know, what do you think that looks like? I mean, if you can do that at interview, even better, because then you know they're not expecting miracles, or maybe they are. But to find out what that might look like, that can help you formalize that plan, like you say, Dan, about your plan of attack. How do I go at this? What am I going to do? And how much time do I have to listen? And how much time actually is left before action needs to be taken? Yeah. Sal, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just building on that because there's a great book, First 90 Days by Michael Watkins. If you a quick summary, if you don't want to buy, I've just made some notes on the first 30 days is all about listening, observing, and diagnosis. Then the 30 to 60 days is about testing out those ideas and building relationships, because that, to what you said, Ant, is really important. And then this, between 60 and 90 days, that's about kind of delivering kind of meaningful, informed change because you've done all the hard work before. And I think if you skip that diagnosis, you could have some quick wins, but they could become some quick losses. And I think, like we said, what is really important in all of those phases is being deliberate and that narration, as we've talked about as well. So people don't fill the silence. The shitty first draft stuff, if you aren't telling people what you're doing, that's when they'll start to make up their own stuff. But I think Michael Watkins sets out really helpfully, particularly if you haven't moved, because I don't know if I've missed this, remind me if I have, Paul, whether we don't know if maybe Scott hasn't moved for some time.
No.
So say you haven't had a job move for kind of 5 or 10 years, or maybe even longer. Sometimes you forget kind of how planful you could be and deliberate at this stage. So I think something like this book, or kind of thinking through, even when you're in the sessions, I'm going to go into this meeting. What do I want to find out? What's important? What are some great questions that I could ask? I think that you've got to be really planful in this stage to help make those meaningful, informed changes.
I also think having a clarity around how do you want to be as a leader going into this role, and making sure then that your actions fit with that image of yourself.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a leader that is thoughtful and collaborative and communicative, then actually look for opportunities to do that, but be really clear about what's your leadership style, really values going into. I've done quite a bit of coaching with people like that. I'm sure you all have, where you're helping people on that kind of journey, that leadership journey, to sort of establish themselves, and having that kind of 90-day strategy cell that you talked about in Michael Watkins' book is a really good idea. But in light of that, I know Scott's already joined, but I think we probably all say, actually, it's not too late. He doesn't say actually how long. He could still start to do that stuff now, even if he's a month in.
Yeah.
So don't think, it's too late because I've already started. It's not.
I was slightly distracted by the word planful. I'm not sure that's a word, Sally, but I know what you mean.
Planful.
Planful. Is that a word? Is that a word? I'm not sure that's a word. But
that's a Sally word.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
I'll look it up a little bit. I know exactly
what you meant, Sal.
Grammar
police here, Paul Nixon.
I think we'll see it in next year's dictionary of new words. Planful.
Yeah, really, planful isn't a word.
How do you spell it? Let's not get into it now.
Planful. Interesting. Makes it. Yeah, let us know. Is planful a word if you're listening?
I'll check the dictionary.
Answers in the comments.
What about some of that preventative care then? Because we've talked quite a bit there about the recommended treatment, and I think there's some great advice that you've all given to that. What about trying to avoid being in the position that Scott's in at the moment, where you're feeling all of this stuff like a weight on your shoulders? How would you avoid that? So someone perhaps who's moving into a new role, etc., but has yet to start, has yet to get into it, and so still has that bit of time to think about how they're going to approach things, to be more planful. What do you think, Sal?
Well, just as you were saying that, I was thinking again, maybe use the kind of boardroom piece before, but I'd have a sounding board of 3. 1, truth teller, somebody internal that you've already spotted that kind of tells you, speaks their mind. Maybe a peer who understands the culture. And then thirdly, an external voice who isn't invested in kind of what's going on. 3 people,
like it.
Small board.
Yeah.
That'll help you.
Yeah. And Dan, what do you think?
And Dan, I definitely think I would start with being clear about your values. How do you want to show up? What learnings have you got from where you were before? And what do you want to be like in this role? Get real clarity on that, and I think that will help inform some of the other stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah. Okay. Dan?
Yeah, both of those things. I think we've mentioned it on a few pods now, but I think moving into a new role, if there's a little bit of self-doubt creeping in, I think it's worth speaking it through with a coach, help you organize your thoughts, help you to pull together that plan of action as well, and help you unlock a few things which you may be struggling with. And apart from that, I would say I would be planful. I just quickly Googled it. Sally, is definitely a word.
Is it?
It is, yeah. And be purposeful and methodical about what you want to do and achieve in that first 90 days. If it's the support of that book from Michael Watkins to help you and that kind of stuff. I think that's really, really helpful way, because then you've got that fallback. You've got that. If the self-doubt starts creeping in, the self-talk starts creeping in, people are watching me, doesn't matter, because I'm sticking to the plan which I've agreed up front, and that's what I'm going to go with. So I think having that in place would be really helpful.
You've been hired for a reason. Confidence.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this earlier. I didn't think we got there. Like, is there something around? I think sometimes people see, I've got a new job now. They're doing me a favor by hiring me, and you're already in that place of, I've got to prove myself. Whereas actually, no, it's not that. The organisation, you're doing them a favour. You are moving in to help them. So I think you mentioned on it earlier, Sal, about you've been hired for a reason. So
Yeah.
there's a reason that you're there.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes you look at it the other way around, not the company doing you a favour, and it's not at all.
You've got to be
Discomfort isn't the problem, as I said before.
Yeah.
You've got to be gracious to yourself, haven't you, as well?
Mm.
Giving yourself a bit of time, because and I know that is really easy to say, to practice and to be self-forgiving and giving yourself that space is harder to do in practice. And whether some of that can come from that sounding board, that small board you mentioned, Sally, I think it's really important. One of the things Scott mentions in here is he says everyone keeps saying, take your time. Well, there you go, Scott. You know,
Yeah.
they're telling you already. People are saying take your time. If they're telling you that, take that advice. Listen to what they are saying. Don't rush into everything. Very few people are expecting instant miracles from you, and if they are, they're unreasonable. So being a bit gracious, giving yourself that bit of time and space to be able to figure things out, look at how you implement your plan of action, and as Antti, you've mentioned about your own personal values and how that shapes what you do. I think that's really important. And I love the prompt you mentioned, Dan, as well, about coach and how coaching can help with that, can just get you out of your own headspace. You know, you start to articulate things and suddenly you gain that clarity, don't you? Which is really, really good.
And it's the answers you already know, but as soon as you verbalise it a lot of the time, it just becomes so much more clear. So
yeah.
Definitely.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. That's been great. And Scott, I hope you found that helpful, as I hope everyone else has who's listened and perhaps in a similar boat or likely to be in a similar boat in the near future. Please do like and subscribe to the podcast if you've not done so already. Tell your friends as well. Share this with them. We'd love to grow our listenership here. And more importantly, we'd love to hear from you who are listening. You can comment. You can let us know which animal you'd like to have a chat with. You can let us know your thoughts on the word planful. You can also, most importantly, you could submit your pain points if you're in a particular situation, or you can see it looming even at the moment. Or maybe you've experienced a friend, colleague go through it and you'd like to share that anonymously. You can do that by emailing us, theleadershipsurgery@gmail.com. And as always, we'd love to hear from you and would love to be able to operate on the issue on your behalf. Thanks, one and all. Great to see you and speak with you as always. We'll speak again very soon. Take care.